guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui, and on the channel I make sewing tutorials. I post new videos every Wednesdays and Saturdays. In this video I will show you how to make the dress that you've seen in the thumbnail. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. So if you're a beginner or if you're a person who wants to push up on your skill, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo how to make a jumpsuit for you to watch and decide if learning online will be convenient for you. If you're interested, send a WhatsApp message to the number that you can see on the screen. Alright, so I hope you have a lovely day. Enjoy the video. Bye bye.
Alright, you're welcome to another video. Welcome to another easy tutorial. So today I'm going to show you guys how we are going to make the full dress that you saw at the beginning of the video and on the thumbnail. Okay, so now first thing you need to know is that you will need 4 yards of fabric. Now the person I'm making for has a bust size of around 33, hip size of around 38. Okay, but even if I was making for a person with a bust size of 40, I would still use 4 yards. So even if the person had the bust size of 44, I would still use 4 yards. So this is pretty easy to do. So now you see this place here. Okay, so I have one all the way from here all the way down is 4 yards. So now next thing I'm going to do, first of all, I need you to fold it. Okay, fold everything to become very small, because now the first thing you will cut is the length of the dress. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the dress length starting from all the way down here. Okay, sorry, all the way down here. So you see the edge that I have here. I'm going to mark my dress length plus an extra 5 inches. Okay, so when you're cutting the dress length, add 5 inches to the length. So from the top part of the fabric I have here, I'm going to measure the dress length. The dress length is 37. 37 plus 5 is going to give us 42. So I'm going to come from here. I'm going to measure out 42. Okay, so from the top here all the way up to here, okay, we have 42 over here. Okay, so now I'm going to cut that cut the fabric at that point. I have cut it to the desired length that I want, length of 42. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this back up. Okay, so I need you to open the whole thing back up, and then I need you to measure out 2 yards and divide it. So we had 4 yards joined together from here, from the beginning here all the way down to the end over here. We had 4 yards. So now what I want you to do is I want you to measure out the 4 yards and cut it. Okay, I'm going to use my yardstick. Okay, and I'm going to measure from here. So this is 1 yard. Okay, 1 yard. I'm going to measure out 2 yards. So we have 4 yards. So measure out 2 yards, and you're going to need to divide it at the 2 yard mark. Not all fabrics are very obedient and will rip that easily, so be very careful about what you're doing when you do that. Okay, so now I have 2 yards separately. So you see here we have 1 2 yard here, we have another one here. Okay, so now I divided them on where the dress length was, and the top part here is where the shoulder is going to be. So now I want you to join them back, but this time you won't join them back where we just slashed. Okay, you won't join them back vertically, sorry. You will join them at the top part. Okay, the part that is still 2 yards, because if you see this is a lot shorter than 2 yards. This is where we cut the dress length. Okay, so the other side that is still, that you can still count your 2 yards on, I want you to join them together at that point. Okay, so you see this basically at the top part here, I want you to join them at half an inch from here all the way down. Okay, all right, so now you can see what I have done here. I hope you can see it. So you see the top part here where we have the both sides that are frayed. Okay, where the end is, you can see that I have joined them together. So basically I have joined the side where you have the 2 yards together. Now what I want you to do is I want you to fold the 2 yards in half. So you see this is one side of the 2 yards, this is the other side. I need you to fold them into 2 complete halves. Okay, so what I have done now is I have basically arranged the fabric. Okay, so you can see I folded, look at this, we have 1 2 3, 4. Now these two here are joined together. This is the first two is the line that is joining together. Now I have folded the 2 yards into half. Okay, so I basically just folded it into half and I've laid the top part there. So where I have that joining is where is the point that that will serve as my shoulder. Okay, so now I'm going to need to mark where the hole for the sleeve, the hole for our hands has to come out, and then also I need to mark out my neckline. Okay, so now this won't have a zip, so I need to mark a neckline that her head will pass through with ease, but yet it won't fall off her shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a standard that you're going to use. All right, so now for the neckline width, you are going to use a neckline width of 4 inches. Okay, so you see this, I'm going to come here, I'm going to mark 4 inches for the neckline width from the edge here. Okay, look at how this is where it is folded. So I'm going to mark 4 inches at this point here, and then I'm going to mark a neckline depth of 3 inches. Okay, and look at where I'm joining from, not from the top part, not from the top edge here. I'm joining from the thread that I ran through it. Okay, so from the thread, that's where the shoulder is, that's where I'm marking my neckline depth from. Okay, so from here to here 3, from here to here 4. When you've done that, I need you to make a neckline. You're done with that. The next thing you're going to do is we need to know where the hole, where her bicep would need to come out from. Okay, so now to mark that point, what we are going to do is we are going to come from the edge here and mark out the shoulder. So her shoulder is 14, so we know that her shoulder 14 divided by 2, 7 is going to stop here. Now the next thing we need to place is the distance from the shoulder to where the hands are supposed to come out from. Okay, so you take the distance from the shoulder to around 1.5 2 inches after the elbow. Okay, that is where her hand will be able to come out smoothly. Don't put it so high up so that it does not jump. So 1.5 2 inches after where the elbow is where you place the hole. So for me, from the shoulder to that point is 12 inches. So I'm going to come to 12 inches and I'm going to make a mark. Okay, so I'm going to make a mark at 12 inches. That is where my the hole will be cut out of. Okay, so now before I cut out the hole, let me chop off the neckline. Look at what we have. Okay, so that's the neckline. Okay, now for us to make the sleeve, after we've marked from the shoulder to the 12 inches, now the distance around the person's arm that I'm making for the person's arm at the point where that 12 stops is 10 inches. Okay, so this is how you go about it. So you take the person, so for the person, for mine here definitely bigger, for yours it might be less. So this is how you go about it. If yours is 10 like mine, what you are going to do is you're going to divide 10 by 2, which is 5. If yours is 8, you will divide 10 by you will divide 8 by 2, which is 4. Okay, so 10 divided by 2, 5. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a mark at 5. Okay, come and pull it down a bit. I'm going to come to 5 and make a mark. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the middle of 5, which is 2.5, and make another mark. So you see this, from here to here I've marked 2.5, and then from the line where you ran across here, you're going to come in by 1 inch from this line. Okay, and then you're going to make a curve in and out. So you see that, and when you're done with that, you're going to make a cut. I've cut out of the curve that I made. Okay, now we're going to have to cut the facing for the neckline and the band that's going to be here. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so when we want to cut the neckline for this part here, you need to cut a piece of fabric 20 inches by 20 inches. Okay, so this is 20 by 20, and when you have that, you're going to fold it like this first. Okay, so you fold it like this. So you see, I simply just collapsed it like so. Okay, and then we're going to fold it like this across the center. Okay, now when you've done that, I need you to just simply plant it underneath this one. So you simply pick up this part here, lay this one down, and then place this one on top. Okay, now you see this, push this excess that you have. What you want is, you want where your line is starting from to sit at the beginning of the piece that is underneath here. Okay, so when you've done that, you can simply now cut out the same neckline that you have. You will notice that this piece under here has the same neckline. So what you want is, you want this an oval, sorry. So what you want is, you want this to be equal at all sides. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come from here and I'm going to make a mark at 4.5. So you see this, I'm just going to go around with it. See that after I did 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, I drew a line connecting all the 4.5s. Now what you want to do is simply just cut. Also going to iron stay to the wrong side of this piece here. So you see this piece here, I'm going to iron nylon fusible lightweight fusible interfacing onto it. So you see this, I'm going to iron this onto the wrong side of this piece that I have here. Now after you're done cutting the neckline, the next thing is to cut the band for the sleeve. Okay, now one thing you must know is that after you cut this hole, after you cut this hole through the whole thing, what you must know is that the circumference around the hole will be a bit bigger than the 10 inches that you have. Okay, so the distance around my client's arm is 10. So what you need to do is you measure this. Okay, 12. Okay, so for me the circumference around mine is a total of 12 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to cut a band next using that 12 inches as a guide. Now it's not 10 exactly, and it's not supposed to be, because you want the person's arm to be able to pass in freely and come out freely instead of it being a struggle. Okay, so let me show you guys how we cut the band. Okay, so now when it's time to cut the band, we have our fabric over here. So what I want you to do is I want you to measure out, okay, instead of 12 inches I need to measure out 13, because we will need half inch for sewing allowance on both sides. So mine, the circumference around the hole where her hand is supposed to come out of was 12. So I'm going to cut this at 13. That means I'm adding 1 inch of allowance. You will see how we consume that allowance on the sewing machine. Now what I will do is you need to cut that 13 by 5 inches. Okay, 13 by 5 inches. So that's what I'm doing now. 13 by 5. I'm going to make a notch at the 5. Okay, so you see this is 13, a piece that's 13 by 5 inches. I'm going to cut another piece like this. Okay, and then I'll iron interfacing to both of them. Then I'll see you guys on the sewing machine. Okay, now we're on the sewing machine. So you guys remember that this is how this part here was folded. Like I told you guys, the two pieces for the band for the sleeves have been ironed. Okay, I've ironed the stay onto the back, fusible interfacing onto the back. This is the front, and then this is the neckline. This is the piece that will go around. Okay, you can see I've ironed stay onto this other part here. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch around the neckline. So I never showed you guys how this will look opened up. So you see when I open it up, that's how that looks. So the first thing you need to do is, because after you stitched and you cut, okay, these areas here were not locked. Okay, you didn't back stitch on them. So you see these neckline areas, you need to back stitch on them before you proceed. And then what I'm going to do is, let me open it up and show you guys the neckline. See this here, we have a neckline. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the facing on top of here. Okay, now you see I'm placing the front of the facing the front of the fabric. Okay, trying to balance out the circle. Okay, so you see this, I've placed the front of the circle. Okay, you see this, I'm placing the front of the facing the fabric. Now what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to simply stitch around here. So now I have stitched around the neck. So you can see now I've stitched around the neck. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notch around the neck. Okay, so notch around so that I can turn the whole thing inside out smoothly. After you've hemmed it, I want you to turn everything inside out and then take it to your table and iron it. So you see this, simply turn the whole thing inside out. Alright, so you see that, and then I'm going to go to my ironing table and press and iron it. Let me show you, I want to show you guys what the inside looks like. So you can see this is what the inside looks like. I'm going to press and iron everything around the neckline completely flat, and then I'm going to also hem here too. Simply fold here in and iron it. Okay, so now I hope you can see the difference look at this. I have folded everything. This is the inside. You can tell from the rough edge that we have over here. All right, so now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stitch around the edge that I have ironed. So first I ironed the neckline smooth, and then I folded, you see this here, okay? I ironed all these parts down as well. All right, so now I'm going to stitch around the neckline very as close to the edge as possible. So now after you have done that, the next thing is for us to fix the band. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do one side, and then you simply repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you can see now this is what it's looking like. Look at the inside here, this is the outside, nice and easy. And as you can see, I have fixed the band where the person's hand is supposed to come out of. So this will go through the neck, and then her hand is going to come out through here. Okay, so now the next thing is, let me show you how I did that on this other part, how I fixed the other one. So you see this, we have our band here. Okay, remember we cut this at 5 by 13. The main distance was 12. We added 1 inch to it. So now we're going to, first thing I'm going to need you to do, I need you to bend half an inch here. You see this, bend half an inch here and iron. Okay, also bend half an inch here and iron it as well. Okay, so you can see here I've ironed here and I've ironed here. Now next thing I need you to do is, you see this, you're going to fold it like this, and you're going to lock here half an inch from the top all the way down. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to iron here flat. So you see the joining I have here, I'm going to spread and iron it flat like this. Okay, so I'm going to press and iron this flat, and then we'll be back. Okay, so after I've pressed and ironed this flat, okay, we're going to now fold back the hem that we ironed, the bottom part that we ironed by half an inch. Okay, make sure that it stays in like so, and then I'm going to do the same thing to this one here, and then I'm going to fold this one here into half. You see that? I'm going to fold it like this. Okay, I'm going to fold it like so, and I'm going to iron it. So I'm going to fold it like this all the way around. Okay, and I'm going to go to the table and press and iron it like this so that it stays, everything is smooth. So I'll be back. Okay, so you can see what I have here. Okay, you can see I folded both of them. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to sew this around this part here. Okay, so the first thing is like what I did on the neckline. Make sure that you seal this part that you cut. Okay, remember we ran the line at the shoulder at first. Okay, but now we need to seal that line again. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing inside out. And now I'm going to stitch it. Okay, so I'm going to start from under here, and I'm going to stitch. So you see this, I'm going to plant this edge in between here and here. Okay, so simply take this edge, plant it in. Okay, and now I would simply stitch around it. Okay, so now you can see I have stitched the hole that her sleeve is supposed to come out from, where her hand is supposed to come out from, on this side. You can see the hole right there. Okay, so that's how you do that. You plant the rough edge in between the two spaces that you had. Okay, so now the next thing is for us to hem the bottom of the dress. Okay, now the next thing is the hemming. So I've hemmed one side so that I'll show you guys something. The hemming of this dress is not just straight. Okay, sorry, excuse me, that's the way it is. So now check this out. Look at the one I've done so far. I hope you can see how small here is, but look how it opens up when it's getting close to the center. Okay, and then it becomes big, then it's constant for some time before it fades off again. All right, so now how did I do that? Let me show you guys. Let me turn to the other side. So this is the hem at the bottom. So the hem of this dress is not straight. Okay, it is hemmed in a certain way so that the edges would have a longer effect. So now how do you do that? You fold this into 2 halves. You see this? So the 2 yards that I had, you are going to fold it. Okay, so when you fold it, then you come to the center. I need you to make a mark. Okay, so make a mark at where the center is, which is what I have done now. You can see it here. So this is the center of the front. Now what I want you to do is I want you to come to where 10 inches from the center. So you see this center here, I'll keep 10 inches here and I'll mark the beginning. Okay, and then I'm going to come down 10 inches after here and I'm going to make a mark here too as well. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do is I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and I'm going to fold from this first mark that I have here. I'll fold 4 inches. I'm going to iron the end here so that it stays that way, and I'll iron until I get to this other part here, and this is where I would stop. So from here to here it will be constantly 4 inches of hemming. Okay, so let me iron it and I'll be back. Okay, so you see this here. Okay, so you can see from where I have the notch, you'll notice that there's a crease in the fabric. Okay, and it stops right where this one is. So what you're going to do is this: you're going to come to the very beginning here, and we're going to, so let me straighten here out, and we're going to start hemming from here. We're going to start hemming from here. So here we'll start hemming from nothing. Okay, so normal half inch at this point here, and I'm going to start. Okay, but notice how I'm going to progress as I'm moving up towards where the first point starts. So now we've gotten to the first 4 inches. So here we'll just run it normally at the 4 inches. Okay, so now I've gotten to the end of the 4 inches. I'll start tapering it back out to ½ an inch. See that now I have trimmed it out to nothing. Okay, and basically everything that has to do with the headache with this dress is done. The only thing that is left now is the sides. Okay, so you see this here. Let me show you guys something. Here we have the neckline. Okay, you can see this. Here is the neckline, and then here we have the hole for her hand. Now we've hemmed the end, but you see this edge here. This edge is still rough. That's the side. Okay, you can see this. Look at the part that we hemmed here. So this other rough edge here, we also need to hem it. So but this one here, nothing special. It's just basically half from the bottom all the way top. I'll do the same thing on both sides. So now you can see this. I've hemmed this side. I'm going to basically hem the other side, just the same thing I just did now. I'll do it on this side too as well, and after that I'm done. That's how I made the dress. All right.